Athletes, welcome to the locker room. I want to talk about something super important, something that kind of sets Addict to Athlete away or kind of differentiates us from other recovery programs. And that is the principle that we do not count days from the last time we used. We sometimes joke and say that we count miles away from the last addiction or last issue. But more importantly, we focus on the positive network, the positive direction, the positive influences that we have in our lives. In fact, if you ever attend an Addict to Athlete meeting, you'll never hear us talk about the negative effects or the victim type mentality that sometimes plagues community meetings. We focus on the strength, on the team, on the progression of moving forward. It was interesting because it's in the month of February, the time of this video that we're recording right now. And as of a few days ago, I've accumulated 24 years of sobriety. And it's hilarious because I kind of always forget about it until the month of February rolls around, or my wife or someone else will say, hey, congratulations, you made it another year. And it's funny because I don't concentrate on that number. But I've seen so many people that focus on, I have 6 months, 5 days, 2 hours and 1 minute clean, or I have 6 years, 3 days and 2 minutes, or I have 15 years, or I have 1 day. I don't think that's really healthy, because what it does is it puts this unrealistic boundary on ourselves that if we screw up, if something happens, if we end up taking a knee for a minute, that we have to start all the way over. And I don't think that's the case, right? Think of the game of football. You're running, you get hit, you fall down, you start right where you drop the ball. So the thing about that kind of concept is, if we look at the negative parts of all this kind of stuff and start counting it just as a calendar, when we knock off a day, I got 1 day, I got 2 days, I got 3 days, you become so hyper-focused on that next day that you forget to live in the now. I think it's so important that we understand the principle that we never should allow ourselves to constantly be in recovery. We can heal from this, because think about that same football analogy. When you're a kid playing high school football and you get blindsided and you get hit, maybe you break your arm. 20 years down the line, when you're having a catch outside with your son and he's like, Dad, go long, and you're like, whoa, 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 I can't, son. Broke my arm when I was a kid playing football. I'm in recovery. Holy cow, if you break your arm, the spot where that break happens, when you get it fixed and it heals, it becomes stronger. So in this mentality that we have to remain sick, that we have to always be in a state of long-term recovery, we do ourselves an incredible injustice, because the fear that we have inside, that what if I heal from this and get blindsided again? Does that mean once an addict, always an addict? Athletes, absolutely not. It means you got blindsided. It means that you got hit. It means you've got to get back up and keep moving forward. But if we're counting days and we're always in recovery and we're never going to heal, and once an addict, always an addict, that's all you'll ever be. I don't think it's very appropriate in my line of work as a mental health therapist and drug and alcohol counseling to teach the principle that you're forever and always going to be sick. Because what if we found the real cause, that core issue, that seed that was planted that caused your addiction, and we pulled that sucker out and we eliminated it as an excuse for you to keep using? Would you heal then? Or would there always be a hole where that plant was pulled out, that weed was jerked out of the soil? No, you'd fill it back up. Maybe you'd plant something different in there. You would erase and replace. See, the principle of all these kind of old concepts that we have kind of adopted as our truth, or as our recovery, as our sobriety, as our path of healing, kind of defines who you're going to be forever and always. So I get and I understand and I respect the old traditions. But I also understand that there's always a new way of thinking, and that there's always a new way of life, and what works for some is not going to work for others. For me and Team Addict to Athlete, we choose to see the positive influence that our addiction once had, once we've applied the right principles to begin the healing process. Now, I understand, and sometimes we get real upset because we get passionate about the old ways, and it makes sense. Again, your way is your way. We choose a little bit different path to be able to experience what true inspiration can come from when we turn our mess into a very powerful message.